customer service, frequently asked questions, what happens, how to deal with things, and of course, as part of this course, you'll also be getting my customer service training pack, and this is the same pack that I give to my VAs. Um, so yeah, and the first thing is returns are inevitable. With retail, they're inevitable. With drop shipping, they're inevitable. Whenever you buy and sell something, someone is going to be dissatisfied. An item will arrive damaged at some point, or someone's just not going to be happy. Someone might notice the invoice and just look for an excuse to return things without directly confronting the invoice. But there's all sorts of things that can happen. But with the returns, it's simple. So a buyer will tell you they want to return it. And remember, if a buyer returns because they don't want it anymore, and it's not due to a fault of the item, they change their mind, whatever it might be, that's buyer's remorse. And our returns policy is that the buyer um, pays for the returns if there's a change of mind. So anything that's a buyer's remorse, you just let the buyer know, hey, yeah, you'll be liable for the cost of return. Um, and of course, what you can do is just when you refund them, you can just refund them partially, and take out any postage cost incurred. But with the suppliers that we use, this is why it's extremely important that they offer free returns. So you want to make sure that whatever supplier you use has a good returns process. So the customer tells you their return. Let's say we contact Von House, hey, I'd like to return this. Give them the same reason, the same exact reason. So if something's damaged, usually they'll say, hey, we'll send a replacement. They'll ask for photo evidence. So if a customer so yeah, let's take this in turn. So if a customer's item arrives damaged, and they don't send a picture, usually they will. But if they don't send a picture, just respond, "Hey, could we get a picture?" Because when you go to your supplier, they're going to request a picture. They're most likely going to request one, so it's just good. So let's say we customers items arrive damaged, we contact One House, hey, it arrived damaged, we'd like a replacement. Always go for the replacement first unless the customer explicitly says they want a refund. So always go for the replacement and do this as soon as possible because when something's gone wrong, customers are waiting on your response. So you want to be very quick with dealing with disgruntled customers. So um, send them a message, hey, we're so sorry this has happened. You can use this. You can use this as a template as well. Hey, we're so sorry. Uh, it's important to have extremely exceptional customer service with eBay dropshipping. That's the only way that your account's gonna stay long term. That's the reason I've been able to run for so long and sales are still increasing is because of exceptional customer service. So, hey, we're very sorry about this. Um, we're sending a replacement out right away because if it's damaged, the supplier should send a replacement. Unless it's out of stock, then send them a refund. And say something like, in the interim, um, would you like 10% back on this order as a refund, as a gesture of goodwill, something like that. Just something to keep them happy. If they were angry, they'll say yes, we'll take refund, or awaiting replacement. Simple as that. So a general return, again, you just contact your supplier, understand their returns procedure. Usually they'll provide a label. Sometimes you have to call up. Sometimes you can just email, but they'll provide a label, and yeah, you simply just send that to the customer. Hey, this is the returns information, and it's as simple as that. And always inform them to let you know whenever they've dropped it off. If it's a Hermes drop off, or if they're dropping it off at the Royal Mail, just let them know to expedite the refund process, just to let you know. And then yeah, usually it's good practice once they've marked it as dispatched and uploaded tracking. It's good practice to refund them straight away, just so you don't keep them waiting. Okay, customer notice, invoice, or receipt. So in fact, I'm gonna find my template. Let's go. Customers' items arrived damaged. Yeah. Okay. So this is the exact template I use, and believe it or not, I've made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sales, and I've definitely got people noticing the invoice less than 10 times and over 500, 600 sales. So it doesn't happen often. So this is nothing to be afraid of. But yeah, um, this is the template I use. Have a read. Um, yeah, like like most sellers, we source our products from multiple stores and warehouses, marking up prices to keep our business going. Blah blah blah. blah blah blah. Anyway, this will be shared with you. So you simply just send them this message. You can literally copy this verbatim, and it works. Sometimes I send this message and I don't even get a response. They just accept it, don't get left negative feedback. They just have an understanding. Um, Sometimes customers will reply back angrily saying, um, "No, unacceptable. I want the difference." But you can simply, in this case, so what I used to do, I used to just offer a partial refund of the profits that we made or the loss. Sometimes it's a loss. Um, so yeah, if they send another message, um, this is what I say. We completely appreciate and understand your concerns. Again, we provide a service mostly for people who are unable to get out and shop for themselves, lack the knowledge of where to find quality items, or are simply too busy to spend hours of their time looking. So in order to run our business, we have to add a markup for our time. Most eBay sellers operate using this model. The service we provide is that of convenience, and most of our buyers are mostly repeat customers and international buyers who don't have access to the UK market. Absolutely clean. So it's really hurt, and we do pride ourselves on keeping our customers happy. So what we can offer you in this case is a partial refund of our profits after all fees of blah blah blah, and that usually they're going to accept the partial refund. And a lot of people, not a lot, some people who notice the invoice want to return it, and of course it's very important to add for the returns process to have friction, and it usually does. So hey, ensure that item is packaged and sealed in its original packaging. Um, because you're gonna have to return it here. It's not your if they want to return it because of they found a better price, then that's buyer's remorse. Sorry, because drop shipping, there's nothing you could do about it. If someone leaves you, and another thing, if someone leaves you negative feedback, the negative feedback I have on my store is not because of the price. Is not because they noticed the invoice. It's for different reasons. It was for bad customer service, to be honest with you. It's because I wasn't on the ball. I was abroad, and when I'm abroad working, I tend to be a little bit lackluster. So yeah, you can always get it removed, negative feedback removed because of the press. So I hope that answers your questions. But yeah, you guys will be getting this pack, and this will have all the vital information for customer service, everything you need. Out of stocks, extremely important. If something's out of stock and you cannot fulfill the order, do not cancel it because of out of stock. That is a defect and it will work against your account. It won't benefit you at all. Don't do that. It's not worth it. So what you do if something's out of stock, in fact, I can use this as a chance to show my template again. Um, so I even have, let's go out of stock. Dealing with out of stock. Okay. Okay, yeah. So the first step one would be to try and find a product elsewhere because sometimes you can find a similar product. You can find the same product from a different supplier. But if that's not possible, yeah, it's important to wait to be between 1 to 2 working days, especially as usually the next day the item will be back in stock. So before taking any action, just wait one to 2 days, depending on your dispatch days, and then contact the buyer afterwards if nothing's changed. So. This is here twice. Let's delete that. Okay, yeah. So this just gives you different solutions of what you can say, but essentially what I say, and I always use this template, um, and I'm gonna give you like a little bonus tip that I've used before. But yeah, hi, we're sorry to tell you, but your purchase has been reported as defective, so we started the process of getting that investigated. Unfortunately, at this time we cannot say how long that might take. We always want to ensure that what we're sending you is of high quality, and so we're in the process of quality control. If you prefer, of course, you're entitled to a full refund. Deepest apologies again for the inconvenience this may have caused. So more than likely they're going to ask for a refund. They're going to be disappointed, but it's important to tell them there's something wrong with the product so that they wouldn't want it anyway. So I just say the one that I use for the most part. Hey, we're very sorry to tell you, but we were just about to ship. I say this, we were just about to ship this out, and we realized there were scuffs on the mirror, or I'll be specific because you don't send these often, or there were tears in the couch, and it was the last one. Also, I wouldn't say that to be honest. I say we value sending high quality products, just as you read here. We value sending high quality products, and we're not gonna. And I say something like, we've also had previous buyers complain about certain aspects of the quality of this product. Of course, you're entitled to a full refund. Blah blah blah, and yeah. So again, you'll get some templates. So I'll use something like that. 9 times out of 10, they're gonna say they want a refund, and they're not gonna have an issue. They're not gonna leave negative feedback. It's just so smooth and so slick. And another thing you could do is nothing. To be honest, I'm not even going to preach this. This is because I've only used it once, but you guys can read this and understand the logic. But yeah, I don't recommend using that. Yeah, so this is the exact template that I just spoke about. We've had previous buyers complain about this, blah, blah, blah. We're not sure how long quality procedures may take. I tell them that we don't know. I used to say, hey, you may have to wait up to 60 days, but no one wants to see 60 days. So we just say we're not sure how long it may take. That's fine. Kind regards, Tilly Customer Support. And to be honest with you, I don't use my real name when I'm dropshipping. I use Tilly. Tilly's my dog's name. But as I learned in YouTube videos, people respond more kindly to females than males when it comes to this stuff. So people think they're speaking to a Tilly. So it definitely helps, trust me, rather than when you use your own name. People are a bit more harsh with you. It's a weird one, but you can experiment on that one yourself. Buyer request to send the item to a different address. I actually have had this one today. If you're ever unsure about what to do when it comes to customer service, you can always call eBay. So I used to call eBay. The customer told me this. So from speaking with eBay, it's fine. So if the customer says it in the messages, eBay message, hey, could you please send it to this? I've moved. But there's a few things that you want to look at. You want to see, they say they moved house. The one I got today, for example, the buyer said they'd moved house. So the first thing I checked was the postcodes, the city. Is it in the same area? Is it believable? And yeah, it was in the same area. So it's frustrating because I have been scammed on eBay. You know, it does happen, so you have to be wary. But you need to just look into things. Then you want to look at the buyer's feedback score. If they're a new seller, then you might not want to trust them. But just call eBay. eBay can double check for you. eBay can see, but usually if it's in the messages and you send it to the address that they've asked, you'll be fine. You'll be covered. So eBay will sort of back you as long as there's tracking. If there's no tracking, ask them to cancel it. If the product is too high value, ask them to cancel it and reorder. But the product I sold today was about £35, so the risk is not that high because I've lost more than £35 doing dropshipping. So yeah, let me just have a quick look over my customer service pack just to see if there's anything else that I'm missing. Excuse me. Okay, we've covered damaged, covered invoice. Again, you will get this pack. Negative feedback. Yeah, so I also talk about getting feedback removed. Dealing with out of stock. Great, covered that. Yeah, so yeah, when a customer asks you when a product will be out in stock, just ask them to add it to their watch list. You don't have a back to stock date. If a mistake's ever sent, hey, this is a little template I've never had to use. Yes, I actually have sent an item to the wrong address once. I was so annoyed, but yeah, this is just something to say to a customer if they're disgruntled. You could just say something like this. Tits and chits. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope that was useful. There's a lot of golden nuggets I spoke about. Yeah, I try and make this as simple as possible. Returns are inevitable in an eBay dropshipping business or in any retail business, and of course this is an online retail arbitrage, so it's bound to happen. So firstly, you just want to ensure that your returns policy is set up the way it's supposed to be, and that's just 30 days return policy, buy pays, return postage. And if the reason for the return is item not as described and the item isn't as described or damaged, then really you've got nothing to worry about. Because if an item is damaged and an item is not as described and it's not due to it's not your fault, then your supplier will cover this. Your supplier will issue a refund or a replacement based on stock. But it's some things buyer's remorse, and essentially that covers anything else. Whatever excuse or reason they give, it doesn't fit, there's a better price, they found a better price, they had a change of mind, whatever reason, it doesn't matter. Buy pays, return postage. And it's extremely important to add friction to the returns process. And by that I mean it's not just snap of the finger, easy. Adding a bit of friction just means that the buyer has to put in a bit of effort.
So hopefully that deters them. So sometimes you'll get some returns, people open returns cases, and especially if it was a remorse one, sometimes they just never end up returning it because it's just not worth their time, essentially. But if something was damaged or that they had strong feelings towards the item not being as described, these are customers likely to leave negative feedback. So you want to deal with this immediately. And yeah, so the returns process is simple. Again, you just have to know the reason for return. If it's damaged or it's not as described, if it's damaged, usually they'll send you pictures. If they haven't, ask them to send pictures. You simply just call your supplier or you email your supplier. I like phone calls because even though I sometimes have to wait in queues, it gets the job done a lot faster. Especially calling George. I call them up. I don't even have to wait in a queue most times, and um, I send them an email and they issue my replacement straight away. And a top tip as well, if something ever arrives damaged from a supplier when you're communicating with them, so this is actually, I'm going to go a bit off topic here, but it's definitely useful information. So items not to list. If you watch videos on YouTube and items not to list, you'll see stuff like ceramic items, plates, any breakables, and things like that. Well, I actually list those on my store, and that's because if they do arrive damaged, then if you've chosen a good supplier, they're going to take care of that for you. So let's say, in fact, this happened to me many, many, many times. So I've ordered plates from Asda. I love listing plates from Asda, and it arrives damaged. Buyer tells me, and I have so much trust in as the system now that I can even respond to the buyer without even contacting the supplier first because I already know what they'll do. But essentially, I just call as the tell them, hey, it's been damaged. They'll email me. I'll send them the pictures, and they'll issue either a refund if it's not available, chip out again, or they'll send a replacement straight away. And what you can do as well is always, after you have been inconvenienced by a supplier, remember you're a customer, but we're just not in the customer's shoes. So sometimes you forget, always ask for what can you offer me? What can you offer me as a gesture of goodwill? Request a voucher, be direct. Do you have any vouchers or systems in place that you can offer me? Because I'm not happy with this. Just let them know and be calm about it, be kind, and they completely understand. And sometimes they'll not sometimes they give you vouchers. I know as they give you vouchers, and other suppliers, if they're good, they'll give you a voucher, they'll give you a discount code, and of course that can help with your profits for your business. So I've received tons and tons and tons of £5 vouchers, and as those vouchers are £5, so that's £5 profit. And sometimes they'll issue me a refund and ask me to keep it. Then you can issue your buyer a partial refund. So yeah, if something's damaged, um, that's an easy return. You shouldn't even think of returns. You should just think of replacing it unless the buyer wants a return. Um, Item not as described. Again, whatever the reason is. Um, and buyer's remorse. So change of mind, better price, doesn't fit. And most, depending on what supplier you use, you simply just contact them and just contact them and just say, hey, I'd like to return this because XYZ. You don't have to lie because they're going to ask for pictures. So if your buyer said, um, they want to return because they found a better price elsewhere, just tell your supplier that you had a change of mind, and they will charge you as well because buyer pays returns postage. And for whatever reason, you let the buyer know, hey, just to let you know, you'll so whatever the returns procedure of the supplier is the same information. In fact, I just copy and paste the message directly back to the customer, and I just take out any branding and just let them know that you'll be liable for the cost of return. This will be deducted from your refund. So when you're refunding them, you can choose to refund them through PayPal, and that's where you just deduct whatever costs. But most suppliers offer free returns anyways. So um, yeah. So if it's a Hermes tracking, usually it's Hermes returns. A lot of them use Hermes returns. You just take a screenshot of the prepaid label, tell them to take it to their nearest shop. So it's really simple. Um, and yeah, for some of the returns, for example, from Von House, if you're sending a return, they'll ask you to, and this is what I mean by friction. They'll ask, please complete this returns form, and you tell the buyer, please complete the returns form, quoting order number, blah blah blah. They won't have any idea what the order number is, so So you just send whatever your supplier sends you, you can send to your buyer. Don't worry about the branding. That's not your business. At that point, they want to return it anyway. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Um, and if there's a returns address, you can add returns addresses. So just say, please send to. In fact, I'm going to do a part 2 on this because it gets a bit more complex, but I'm going to simplify it as much as possible. But yeah, in fact, there's an example here. Sorry to hear your item's not working well. Please return it back to blah blah blah, whatever the address. So this is Smiths. I got here, Smiths at blah blah blah. Again, you will get the sheet, but to be continued in my returns part 2. I'm going to be giving some golden nuggets in there. I hope that makes sense. It's really easy. Whatever your supplier's returns process is your returns process. So if they send you a prepaid label and they say this is going to cost you, just say the same thing to the buyer. It's really not rocket science.